YouTube Zack, the Goat House is back. College football season's officially over. National championship was just last night. We got some guys that really made some money in that game, mainly from Alabama there. So we got an updated mock draft. Updated one last week. It's a little different scenario. Obviously very realistic. Changed it up a little bit with some changes in stocks, and we're here to update it. Got constant mock drafts, constant NFL playoff coverage, offseason coverage with free agency in the draft. We have multiple round mock drafts. Once we get into the actual draft season, big boards, everything. We got you covered. We got you covered on that Twitter. Always talking NFL draft. Always talking NFL. Talking during live games. Follow that Twitter. There's a link in the description in the comments for anything that you need. As you can tell, a lot going on here, so subscribe. Be much appreciated. Check out that Sided app. Link down below for that as well. You can win Amazon gift cards. I mentioned that Twitter. Right now, you guys are voting for who wins in the divisional round. We'll do this for every game, every round, and you guys have a say that on who gets the fan vote pick in our weekly Pick'ems videos. So check this out at Goat House NFL. Give us a follow. A lot going on here. Be much appreciated. Let's go to the mock, the first 8 picks. This is predict the pick. This is not what I would do. Obviously, it's still kind of early to actually predict the pick, but it's I view it as a realistic situation, obviously. Trevor Lawrence going 1. We all expect that. There was some feeling at one point they could go Fields, but it's got to be Lawrence. We can't overthink things. Maybe the best quarterback prospect of all time. So Jaguars still in the hunt for their coach. It could be Urban Meyer. So we'll see how that works out. The Jets go. This is where it already gets tough. Jets go Justin Fields, quarterback, Ohio State. Zach Wilson's an option. Some people think Paye they could go lineman, stick with Sam Darnold, or they're supposed to do this big trade in the offseason. They have like a trade in their minds. I don't know how that could be already, but we'll see what that is. I don't think they stick with Sam Darnold. I just can't imagine that. We'll see what Doug Peterson got fired. I think that could be a pretty good fit there. He has a connection with Douglas, obviously, so we'll see if that happens. I don't think Sam Darnold's the guy. I think they go Justin Fields. And Zach Wilson can win with his legs too, but Fields' ability to win with his legs on top of his passing game, his throwing ability, especially downfield for the explosive plays, just ridiculous. You're getting that much more production from your offense. So Jets go Justin Fields here. DeVonta Smith, 3 to the Dolphins. Now, this could be Penei Sewell. I'm kind of back and forth on this, so this is a little different scenario. DeVonta Smith, it's another dominating performance. I mean, this is just such a safe pick, too. It's a today's style receiver. The young receivers are taking over today's NFL. Like, it is so much more important of a position now. I mean, it's not ideal for your quarterback to be a one-read quarterback, but when you have receivers like this, it can make one-read quarterbacks even better because this guy, with his footwork is always open. And, you don't want to give the chance that quarterback doesn't see him open. But this guy playing from the slot, playing outside, and he has experience with Tua Tagovailoa, of course, as well. And just dominant, just always open. Should be an instant impact guy. So the Dolphins, the receivers kind of let Tua down, recently, at the end of the season there. Versus that last game trying to make the playoffs, trying to clinch the playoffs. So they go with Smith. It could be Sewell, it could be Chase. That should be interesting debate all off season long. Falcons go Zach Wilson. Rare opportunity. The Falcons are picking 4th overall. Rare opportunity to get a legit quarterback. Zach Wilson would be number 1. Maybe number 1 pick in most normal classes. This quarterback class is ridiculous, especially at the top. So the Falcons, they have to. I don't expect the Falcons, even if their team stays the same, even if Zach Wilson doesn't even start this year, team's exactly the same. I don't think they're picking 4. I think they're better. They had a tough schedule this year. Some fluky things happen. Here's your opportunity. And Matt Ryan's declining. His arm talent really not declining, just more of his pocket presence and being able to, he's just taking a lot of sacks, being able to escape the sacks, and the era is changing too. You need a guy that can be able to, that can move, escape those things. So they got to go Zach Wilson in this scenario. Penei Sewell to the Bengals, that would be option A pretty much right there. The A+ draft for the Bengals. Jamar Chase would be pretty appealing though, because Joe Burrow's there. Jamar Chase, possibly the best receiver prospect of some time, maybe in this class. Him and Smith are that good. And they're going to lose AJ Green. So that's appealing, but you got to lock up this O-line for Burrow, who just got hurt, too. Eagles go Micah Parsons, another one that's tough. They could go Chase. Eagles fans really want Chase. I'd like Chase. I'm a big Chase fan. Parsons is very good, though. But reason why I went with this today, obviously, it's still somewhat early. We're not actually in draft season yet. Still early. We're going to hear about all stock up, stock down, what happens at the combine, meetings, who's meeting with who the actual coach is of the Eagles. So right at this moment, looks like their first big interview is Robert Saleh from the 49ers. So they might want to improve this defense. They have the worst linebacker unit in football. Micah Parsons could be that option if that is the case. Lions go Jamar Chase. Kenny Golladay, I think they'll extend. He's had some minor injuries here and there. He's a great receiver if he's on the field. Marvin Jones, pretty solid, but he's going to be a free agent. He could get more money elsewhere. He has minor injuries pop up as well. So get Chase, too good to pass. Add another receiver. That offense could be that deadly. I mean, the question of, the Lions' defense is really letting them down. That's why they're not winning games. The offense is doing enough for the most part. But if they add, they added Okudah last year. If they add a one piece here with a top pick on defense, is it really going to change that much? You gotta make sure you're winning on offense every single week. And with a guy like Chase, absolute playmaker, game changer, that could help you in that case. I think I had this last time. I like Trey Lance to the Panthers. Teddy Bridgewater really declined the second half of the year. I have no idea. It was a weird decline. It's almost like a guy that's like 40 years old, so I don't know what happened there. The contract, seemed like a big contract, it still is, but they actually can get out of it after one more year. So they are in need for multiple reasons of a quarterback. I think they'll like Lance. I think, when the Panthers had success, it was when Teddy got things going downfield, which was rare, and ran pretty well, which he could do, but he didn't really want to do. Get a guy like Lance who can take those shots downfield, can run, use his legs. So big plays waiting to happen, exactly what the Panthers need. They're lacking the big plays, and they have big play receivers as well. So I think it's a tremendous fit. Lance, another guy that could be quarterback 1 or 2 in most drafts, and here he is, number 4, going to the Panthers. We can take a look at the next 8 picks. I had this last time. Broncos fans, I don't think were too thrilled with me. Again, this is not necessarily what I would do. This is kind of predict the pick. From what I've been hearing, from people around the league, people that you trust, Mac Jones is going to go earlier than the media or fans say. So, much earlier. So, and he just won a national championship. I know it doesn't mean a whole bunch. It means something. I like to fit with the Broncos, though. I know this is not what I would pick. I may go Surtain, if it's me. I usually do one mock draft a year, and it's really close to the draft when I have, pretty much my scouting reports on all these guys, when I know, everything about everybody, which I do pretty much on the top guys. But I usually do those one a year, but I think predict the picks more important. People, like those a little more. Just Mac Jones with the weapons they have, and we'll see who. I don't know if I like Shermer with Mac Jones. That's the only thing, and I know a lot of people don't like Shermer. I think he's all right. I think people get on him too much, but is that the right guy to run that Mac Jones, that Mac Jones Alabama offense? I guess that's the knock on this pick. If Shermer's still there, see who's the GM. If the GM has control, we'll see. But they have the weapons. You talk about why Alabama quarterbacks don't really work the next level, and people usually say it's because they don't have, Alabama has the best weapons in the country. Look at the Broncos, and I know a lot of Broncos fans are on Drew Lock still. I like Drew Lock. I like the pick in the second round. It's still, even if he ends up bad, it's still a pretty good pick. You take that chance. But I go cold on quarterbacks early, but it's worked out for me. I've never went too early. I've never been like, all right, this guy's not good, and he ends up being good once in the NFL. It's usually pretty accurate. So I'm kind of going cold on Drew Lock. I mean, Broncos fans could agree this group, the offensive line that's improving, I mean, it really improved, and it should only go up because how young it is. They got a lot of young pieces in there that are getting better. It's only going up. And then you got Melvin Gordon was getting really good at the end of the year. They have Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay. Receivers, I mean, I don't have to list out. Don't forget about Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton, I'm a huge Cortland Sutton guy. This guy's a stud. Jerry Jeudy, who's going to improve. Alabama receiver KJ Hamler, who continue to improve. Noah Fant, Albert. I mean, it's ridiculous, and ridiculous for the future. Everybody listening agrees that is a great supporting cast for a quarterback. Drew Lock can't figure it out with that. He can get a little better. How much better is he going to get? Not a whole bunch. Mac Jones, with those weapons, I think Mac Jones would be better day one. If people will disagree with me, I think it'd be better day one. What's the difference between Mac Jones and Drew Lock? Mac Jones could read a defense, can go through his progressions, can make the right read, and can react to it very fast. He's way better than Drew Lock in those categories. Drew Lock probably has a stronger arm, probably can run a little better. That's about it. Mac Jones, I think, would succeed with that group there, so I think that would make them better. Patrick Surtain for the Cowboys had that quite a bit. Shut down corner. You see teams just don't want to throw at him. Justin Fields don't want to throw at him. Notre Dame didn't want to. Nobody wants to throw at him. There's a reason for that. Very good in press, and that's kind of the harder thing to teach at the NFL level. Coaches just don't want to teach a cornerback how to press in the NFL, But so you have to be able to do it to be a top pick. Surtain can do it. He's also got coverage skills, the technique, and lockdown corner, which could be better than playmaking corners, taking the ball away because you're taking away half the field. Giants go Gregory Rousseau, the edge rusher from Miami. The Giants probably need a quarterback still. They could look to add to the offensive line, could look to add receiver perhaps. Defense looked really good, but they need better edge rushers. They have really good defensive linemen that can get pressure. If they add an edge rusher like Rousseau, this defense could be the best in football. Leonard Williams getting pressure from the actual D line. If they add an edge guy like Rousseau who can also move around in different positions, so that's a bonus. I think that would be ideal. He's a freaky dude, has production, sat out a year. I don't know if we want to overthink this. I think people are going to love the traits and the freakish ability, so I think he goes pretty high. Niners believe we had this before too. Caleb Farley, former receiver turned corner. He has the athletic traits and the physicality, of course. A lot of upside. The Niners are potentially going to lose a bunch of corners free agency, and so that they could use Farley here. Chargers, Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts should go earlier in this. He's going to be much higher. He's going to be a top 5 player on my board. Maybe the best tight end prospects for their era of all time. He's really a receiver and a tight end because he can play out wide, can play in a slot, can play inline, can block. Seen him block inline and outside, downfield, everything. Just a freaky dude. Maybe the best contested catcher in the class. Chargers could potentially lose Hunter Henry. Kyle Pitts. Hunter Henry is very good. Kyle Pitts is going to be better day one. Going to be cheaper. And I think it's a really good fit with Justin Herbert there. Kind of think you can't really compare him to Travis Kelce, but in terms of the impact, he's more comparable to Darren Waller. But in terms of the impact, how they spread out the field, how they dominate the middle, and then open things up outside. Mahomes, Kelce, Herbert, Herbert and Pitts in this scenario. Vikings take Christian Darsaw from Virginia Tech. I think he'd be their future left tackle. Reef actually played decent this year, better than normal. But he's going to be on his way. He's probably there for one more year. If they make this pick, he might be gone. They have Ezra Cleveland, who came in as a tackle. They moved to guard. There's a lot of talk that they're going to move him to tackle, and they're going to bring in a guard. I don't know if they're going to do that. They moved Cleveland to guard like pretty much right away, and he looked pretty solid for, not later than a first-round pick. He was kind of thinking he could be a first-round pick. Looked pretty solid. I don't know if they just switched that. I don't think they would make a guy a guard just because they need a guard. They don't want to stunt his growth or anything. So I think they like him at guard. I'm pretty confident about that. So I think they're more likely to go tackle, especially because they're really never picking 14. Here's your opportunity. They haven't really had success on tackles. It's probably because they're taking ones later, not the sure thing. So here's your opportunity here. Patriots go Kwity Paye, edge rusher from Michigan. Patriots don't have much of an edge rush. They have that. Really, the only thing it comes from is the other Michigan edge rusher, Chase Winovich, who's kind of inconsistent. 1 week okay, this guy's gonna be dominant. Next week, then he kind of goes cold for a little bit. But yeah, they haven't really been getting pass rush. Last time they got solid pass rush consistently was Trey Flowers in that Super Bowl year run. And he wasn't that crazy too, just kind of in the playoff run. So they definitely could add something like this here. An actual edge rusher. Maybe 2 years ago they got pressure from Jamie Collins, but kind of a hybrid guy, Kyle Van Noy. They finally need to get somebody in there that can just rush the passer, the old-fashioned way. Cardinals take Jaylen Waddle. Maybe cornerback's a bigger need. Maybe offensive line was kind of hit or miss this year. But I like Jaylen Waddle here. And they will too. They appreciate the receiver position, I guess, more than anybody. You'll see them use more receivers than anybody. Larry Fitzgerald could be pretty much done. Christian Kirk's kind of like hit or miss. He's kind of just going to go deep, and sometimes he's open, sometimes he's not. Take some stress off of DeAndre Hopkins there, open things up underneath and downfield for Kyler Murray. I think that makes them better. A guy like Jaylen Waddle will be pretty appealing to them. He tried to play in the national championship game with a bad ankle. And he played, tough dude, respect. He was limping around all over the place. Could that actually hurt his stock, though? Could that be like, this guy got to recover for this? How's it going to be? We'll see if there's a combine. There better be a combine, but mainly because that's where they get checked out, kind of confirmed, medically. So we'll see. You would think a guy, that young could recover from the ankle injury. Ankle's a weird one, though. Ankle's, like, these days seems worse than, because, knees worse, at the end of the day. But it seems like guys coming back more and more from knee injuries. Ankle injuries, it just feels like you're so much more likely to re-injure it. Non-contact, just on your own, just landing. So that's interesting, but top-tier talent. Next, the Raiders go Azeez Ojulari. I think I talked about last time that they might get Gus Bradley. Now they did get Gus Bradley this morning, actually. The defense coordinator from the Chargers. He was with the Seattle Seahawks for a bit there as well. So he's coming over to the Raiders. He's kind of known for his Leo defense. So one edge rusher is more of a 4-3 end. The other one is more of a 3-4 outside linebacker. So it's kind of a unique defense there. And he ran it with the Chargers, which was Joey Bosa, who was the 4-3 end, and Melvin Ingram, who was kind of the off-the-ball guy, off-the-ball pass rusher. They kind of move him, around a bit. I think Azeez Ojulari could play that role. I think they like Crosby on the line. Farrell can mix in with that. So Ojulari kind of makes sense for that role. It's definitely an important role they can fill. Melvin Ingram happens to be a free agent, so maybe Gus Bradley wants to bring his guy over there. I'm a fan of that type of defense. It worked with the Niners. With Nick Bosa, you see the two Bosa brothers happen to be in a Leo defense. Nick Bosa and D Ford. If D Ford's healthy, he's pretty good. So it's going to kind of be that D Ford type of role there. They usually like for that guy to be able to cover, a little better than your normal pass rusher. So I guess that's the questions here. We'll see. Dolphins take Najee Harris, the running back from Alabama. So they double down on the Alabama boys for Tua Tagovailoa there. So that looks ideal. Najee Harris is really helping his stock. He's not going to run super fast at the combine, and that could turn some people off. Because speed does kill, and always did, but today's NFL especially. But he's really boosting his stock. I mean, the vision's ridiculous. He can cut. He's quick, quicker than given credit for. Can definitely break tackles, but adding that pass catching ability, whether it's from the backfield or lining up at receivers, slot, wherever it may be, and catching and running after the catch, is just huge, absolutely huge. So he's going to go in the first round. The Dolphins adding Smith and Harris makes their offense that much better. The problem why they just missed the playoffs, they just couldn't score enough points. This could boost their offense that much more. Washington definitely could use a receiver. I think they need to get this offensive line set. They can use a quarterback too, but at 19, maybe they get one in free agency or trade, whatever. Tackles haven't really been too good since the whole Trent Williams hasn't really played for them in a while, but since that whole debacle, Brandon Scherff's a free agent. I think they'll get him back. So I thought about Rashawn Slater, who's probably going to be more of a guard but can play tackle. But I want Leatherwood, just to get that that solid left tackle in there to make sure that's set in place. Bears go Terrace Marshall, receiver LSU. I think is quite underrated. I think he's kind of a do-it-all guy. Catch the ball in the middle field, outside. Could be physical with the cornerback and fight for a catch, but also can. Once he gets going, he's going too. He can outrun somebody. Bears, I think they might lose Allen Robinson. They could franchise tag him. They could tag and trade him. It just sounds like I don't think he wants to be there anymore. He's talking about they could have got a contract done for the whole year. They couldn't get it done. And I think the question is, and it could be a decent move from the Bears. Why I say decent was because if they know they didn't want to pay him, they probably should have traded him. But. Because, what is he asking for? Do you want to pay a receiver that much when all these rookies, there's a load of good ones, are really like the best receivers in the NFL, much cheaper, and the guys that actually could do more, not really saying they're better than Allen Robinson, but maybe they have more to their game, more separation ability, better footwork. The Bears could go this route in the future, really could be a guy like Marshall and Mooney, who they look like they hit on there later in the draft. The Colts go Rashawn Slater. Rashawn Slater could go top 10, could go down here. The reason he could fall a little bit is because, in this scenario, who's going ahead of him, but teams could also, we're going to play him at guard, tackle, center. Some talk about center as well. The Colts had Braden Smith, who was probably going to be a guard, and they put him at right tackle. He ends up being good. Anthony Costanzo actually just retired this morning, so they're looking for left tackle. Maybe they would rather have a guy that's just a little more confident about left tackle, but in this scenario, those guys gone, they'll be confident about working with Slater there. They need to keep that offensive line intact because that's the most important thing about their team, really. how they had some success on offense. Titans go J.C. Horn. Pass rush is probably more of a need. They've been lacking it for some time. But the best available player, is also somewhat of a need here. J.C. Horn, Joe Horn's kid from South Carolina. Very physical. The combination of being physical and being able to read a quarterback's eyes and body, just his body as well. I think it's pretty rare, and he actually could be a number one corner in some classes. So getting him at 22 is ideal. Corner started to play a little better. They got a Dory Jackson back, and Malcolm Butler started to play a little better, but still definitely think they can use one for the future. They could cut Malcolm Butler and save some money. We'll see if that's the case, though. He did start to play a little better, but this would be ideal here. I think this would be their best corner right away if they got him. Jets go Wyatt Davis, guard. They definitely need another guard to kind of complete that offensive line there for whoever their quarterback may be. So they go the Ohio State guard. And this could open up the running game a little bit as well. Very good run blocker. Steelers go lineman, too. I mean, weird situation because they don't have much cap, and they're kind of looking for the quarterback of the future. They need a running back. The offensive line declining. They mainly can't run the ball because the interior blocking and interior pass protection is actually okay. Interior run blocking is pretty terrible. And they could lose some guys on defensive free agency. I'm not really worried about their defense, though. So get Elijah Vera Tucker, who can play guard or tackle. So that's ideal. Probably a very solid guard at the next level so that can improve their run blocking game. And then the last 8 here, Christian Barmore from Alabama, who just made some money last night in the national championship and the semifinal of the Rose Bowl game. He made money in both those games. All over the place. Really good stopping a run, really good shedding blocks. And he's good at getting pressure. He doesn't really have pass rush techniques. He kind of just uses his strength. I think he can play the interior for the Jags scheme, and it's exactly what they need. They have no interior pressure, so getting a guy that can get pressure from the interior also helps stopping a run. I think is ideal. I think I have Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, the Browns, every mock, so this is kind of rare for me. So let's just say it's going to happen, all right? I've heard that he can go earlier, and I can see that because he's kind of today's linebacker. Just an absolute freak, so rangy, and can cover. You don't have to take him off the field on third down. He was probably one of the better players in all of college football covering from the slot. He's a linebacker. So really freaky. You kind of can use him as a utility guy, get him at blitz, get him after the quarterback. And it wouldn't surprise me if somebody used him as an edge rusher on some downs. The Browns could use a guy like that. The problem with him is, and why, I know some people have him kind of towards the top 10, which again, so freaky, so today's era can do so many things that I could see it, but why maybe I can't see it is because I don't know if he really fits 3-4 teams, so that kind of leaves half the league roughly that he fits. But, one of those teams can get unique with him, I suppose. But I like him with the Browns there. I went with Kyle Trask to the Bucks. The Bucks don't have a whole bunch of needs. Brady, one more year after, we're in the playoffs right now, one more year left. So, not going to be around forever. So, I think it's better to get a quarterback of the future to learn from Brady now rather than when he's gone. Maybe they don't want to get that. Maybe they don't want a rookie guy. So that would be the argument against it. But Trask, probably would go a little earlier in this, but the other quarterbacks kind of push him down. So kind of a rare opportunity for the Bucks. The questions are, is he a one-read quarterback? Is he mobile enough? He can move. He can not afraid to run and even lower his shoulder, try to run people over. Those are the questions. He doesn't have the greatest ball velocity compared to the other guys, but it's not bad. His pocket movement is very good. His footwork is very good. So I think teams will like that. So possibly bring in Trask, learn from Brady. But does he have kind of the Brady deep ball that they're kind of winning by right now? So we'll see. Ravens go Rashad Bateman. So this is kind of a Miles Boykin type receiver, but much more, more athletic, more freaky, just better. So add that to, with Hollywood Brown, keep Boykin in the rotation. Probably ideal. I had Jalen Phillips to the Saints before, just kind of that edge rusher that's going to go around this range. That's also a fit. They're probably going to lose Trey Hendrickson and Marcus Davenport. It's possible they lose him in another year. They have an option for him coming up. So we'll see what they do there. They're in a bit of a tight cap situation, so there won't be that many moves this offseason. There probably won't be any additions, besides the cheap contracts for just one off season. So you're going to need to add the playmakers, important positions in the draft. So adding an edge rusher, especially if you're losing Hendrickson, I think would be key. Bills go Travis Etienne. The Bills, they are a legit running back, a real running back one away from being the best offense in football, really. No one's fearing their run game right now. Singletary and Moss are solid, but, you can get much better. You can get much, much better here. Etienne from Clemson is much better. He's not going to be like a Pro Bowl running back right away, I don't think, but he can catch the ball. He's adding that to his game. He's a solid runner as well. I think I like the pair with Josh Allen. I think this will make them that much better. Especially in those situations where Josh Allen's kind of escaping sacks. It happens a lot, and he's like, do I run? Do I kind of do my crazy flick pass to somebody? I think with Etienne, that's kind of where he thrives in those abilities to be able to follow his quarterback and know what he wants without him telling what he wants. And I think that'll keep defense on their toes. Do we try to focus on Josh Allen? Do we focus on Etienne here? So that's just like a specific scenario that kind of popped in my mind. Had Kadarius Toney the last time with the Packers. It's hard to trust the Packers to actually do this, but I think they would in this point, because Toney would be electrifying in the Packers offense. They're very picky. That's the problem. They want to take those receivers, but they are so picky with their receivers. And you can blame them a little bit, but you can't blame them a whole bunch. You got to, not just going to take a receiver just to take one. They had Tavon Austin to add some speed. You get the speed with Toney, but he also can do so much more. He's a very good route runner. Anything underneath, deep ball, slot, outside. It looks like he can read coverages from what I saw, especially in the Bama game. So I think this would actually, it's weird, I think the Packers, Super Bowl contender, adding a first-round pick, is it going to make them that much better? For some reason, I think a pick like this can make them, the best team in football. I don't know. It depends on what other teams do, of course, but I would be just scared, just straight scared of a Kadarius Toney, DeVonta Adams, Aaron Rodgers Packer offense. So definitely be interesting to see if they can do that. He could go earlier. Like I said, he's kind of got some similar things, the Ruggs, speed, can beat you deep. But there's actually more to his game. I'm not saying Toney's going to be better than him in 5-10 years from now, but they actually got more to his game right now. Chiefs go Joseph Asai, edge rusher from Texas, who could go earlier. I think he strictly fits 3-4 defenses. So that's the problem here with Chiefs running a 4-3. But I think they can work with that. I think they're running more of a 4-3, but they have some of those guys that are kind of kind of both. So I think Spagnuolo could work with that and kind of turn them into a 4-3, or if they want to get, play a little bit of a hybrid defense, I can see them kind of doing that, with Frank Clark on the end on one side and Asai kind of off the ball a little bit, more like a Leo D. We'll see if they do that. So it's a little bold to me, but I think they can make that work. Maybe too good to pass, but mainly they, the Chiefs aren't getting as much pass rush as they normally do here. So, we'll see what they do in the playoffs. We haven't seen them play in the playoffs, but adding somebody with Frank Clark is just the question is, will they view him as a fit? That's why the Saints, I didn't view Asai with a fit at all with the Saints. So, so that could be interesting to see. They could go line. I think I have them taking line quite a bit. So see what they do, and we'll see what the final, this isn't predictions, this is the actual order right now, but we'll see what the actual order is after the playoffs and Super Bowl is done, I guess. But so then we'll have another mock draft. We'll have a load of them, really. But that is gonna do it for this one here. We got full playoff coverage going on, full everything. Off season, we're getting going on free agency very soon too. So we got you covered. Please subscribe, smash that like button, turn notifications on. It'd be much appreciated. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.